Hi students, today I am here to announce a new initiative of Level Up IAS, which is mainly in the interest of all the students in general. As you can see, the topic is IR this week. So naturally it is something related to IR, and since many of you must be knowing me because I did take some of the mains classes and prior to that the foundation classes in the institution. And while taking up all these classes, there was something that I did find that in general the students they lack the wholesome understanding of international relations, whatever is happening, why it is happening and all. But before we go to that, something that all of us would agree to is that of all the GS topics in the syllabus of UPSC, IR is the most dynamic and IR is the most expansive topic. And as we see that India's stakes are increasing post-COVID and the ongoing Ukraine crisis, we have seen how India is balancing itself. At one side, we are member of Quad, then we have become member of I2U2, that is also termed as Western Quad. And on the other side, we are also member of BRICS and SCO, and all these groupings, both of these groupings, they are bringing in the partnership of membership of Iran. So all of this creates a lot of challenges, and moreover, whatever is going around across the globe, that also impacts us and the globe in general. But the point is that whatever information is available to you, either through the newspaper or through some of the YouTube or other channels, what happens there is a day-to-day running commentary. They do lack in explaining you the broader nuances, whatever is happening, why it is happening. And unless you understand why it is happening, you will face challenges in writing your answers in the mains. We are seeing that for last 3 years, the answers in mains have become more, the questions in mains have become more dynamic. And even some of the PSIR optional students, they are also facing challenges in tackling those questions. Due to this, the broader understanding of the issues become important. Just by going through the notes, whatever is available in the market, most of you won't be able to handle those questions. Just I would request you to pause this video and go through the question of mains 2021, mains 2020, or even of 2019. Then you would understand what I am saying. One part of the answer, particularly the last part, you would be handling very comfortably. But the first part of the question, most of you are certain to face challenges. And why do you face this challenge? Because through newspapers, you do get to know the news, what is happening. But why is it happening? Generally, that is not explained. And even in some of the editorials where it is explained, the issue is that editorials are generally one-dimensional, but your understanding needs to be multidimensional. Due to this, you do face challenge. And when there are questions that emerge in your mind after reading to some of the newspaper articles or news or listening to something from the YouTube, there is no one to answer those questions. If you are attending some of the classes, you can ask the teacher and teacher would be explaining that to you. But what if you have already completed your foundation class? So in order to solve the challenge that is there, we are coming up with this program. The best thing of this program is it is completely free for all. And the purpose, and this will be delivered through YouTube and through a YouTube live. We will be looking at all the features in the coming slide. But first I would just explain you how this idea emerged in our mind that we should launch such a program for general benefit of the students. After taking the mains classes, I did have a discussion with Santosh sir. And when I explained to him that, sir, many of the students, they lack this general understanding. And moreover, IR is so dynamic. So it was his suggestion that why don't we launch such a program on weekly basis, completely free on YouTube, so that students get to know what has happened in the last week or what, and whatever what has happened, why it has happened, because that why will help them in tackling the questions, particularly in mains, because prelims is mostly factual. Regarding prelims, you won't be facing those many challenges, but in mains you would, and it is the mains that decides whether your name will be in that PDF, and if your name is there, where it will be. So for helping you students in this regard, we have come up with this program. So just now let us look at some of the features of this program. The first feature is that detailed discussion about key happenings of the past week. You see, daily commentary is simply not possible. We do accept that. And a month or a fortnight will be too long a period. One of the British Prime Ministers had said that a week is too long a period in politics, and ultimately we are talking about geopolitics. So from Monday to Saturday, whatever has happened, we will be discussing that on Sunday. Okay. And in case in that particular week something important has not happened, then we will be taking up some other topics of importance, which are important, but many of the students, they lack understanding. And there you will have an opportunity to suggest the topics that we shall be taking, and we shall be going for discussion. And how you can okay, and how you shall be suggesting that, we will provide you, I shall be telling that to you. So the first feature, as I said, the detailed discussion, whatever has happened, why it has happened, what are its repercussions. For example, Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. Though it was not in her itinerary, but mostly people were knowing that she will be visiting Taiwan. And the purpose of that visit was more related to the domestic politics of Taiwan. And what Nancy Pelosi herself is, she is an activist. When we go back to her past, in Tiananmen Square, she had shown a banner related to democracy, and that this we are talking about going back to 1990s. So it is more related to the domestic it was more related to the domestic politics of USA and less with the broader geopolitics, because yes, geopolitics was important, but it was more related to the domestic politics of USA, or some of the other happenings like Adani getting Haifa port. We have become member of I2U2, and the plan is that through Persian Gulf a rail link up to Iran, and from there up to Europe. So India is trying to tap the European market through this way, and ultimately challenging China's BRI without becoming a direct challenger to it. So there is a lot that is happening. Whatever is happening, why it is happening. Another important thing that has happened is that In Vienna, discussions related to Iran's nuclear program has restarted. So what were the challenges, whatever is happening, and what we can expect? Because we can always guess what is happening in international relations. No one can say with certainty. So that is what we shall be doing. There will be a detailed discussion about the key happenings. This will be the time slot every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, in the morning on Sundays, so that you have read something through the week. Sundays are generally the time when we go for revision. So you will be revising your international relations with me. Okay. And the discussion would be from GS perspective, because generally PSIR students, they are more comfortable with IR. But if there are students and there is a huge demand regarding discussion of these topics also from the PSIR perspective, because if we are talking about PSIR perspective, we need to bring in theory of IR, scholars, ideas and all. So if there is a demand, then that demand will be considered and we will think of some program for helping out the PSIR optional students. The mode would be YouTube live, and this will give you opportunity to ask your questions directly through the chat box that is there. So the point that it is not a day-to-day reporting, but rather a broader discussion about what has happened and why it has happened. And then if you have got any doubt related to that, you can always type it during the YouTube live, and I shall be reading that and I shall be answering that to you. Okay. It is free for all. You do not need to be a student of Level Up IAS. Any student from anywhere, they can have access, they can ask questions, they can listen to the class, they can get their doubts clarified. Though predominantly the language will be English, but we will try to make it bilingual depending on the students. If most of the students, they want it to be bilingual, we will be going bilingual. Otherwise, it will predominantly be in English, because most of the students that we cater to, they are from the English medium. Okay. The topics, they will be informed to you beforehand by Friday. There will be a YouTube live link on the YouTube channel of Level Up IAS, and on that by Friday the topics will be suggested that okay, these are 3 or 4 or 5 topics that will be discussed in this Sunday's class, so that you can read about it, you can ask, you can prepare your questions about it, and during that YouTube live you can ask your questions. Okay. After the class, there will be a few prelims questions and mostly 2 or 3 mains questions that will be given to you. So this will be to check your understanding, that whether you have understood the topic and if you are able to handle those questions. And the answer to those questions will be discussed in the next class. Like in this Sunday's class, whatever topics we are discussing, questions will be given from those topics. 2 or 3 questions from mains, or perhaps 4 to 6 questions from prelims perspective, and their answers will be discussed in the coming Sunday's class, so that you have enough time to write answers, and then after that has been discussed, you can evaluate your answer on your own. Okay. And there will be provision to suggest topic for discussion. It is not that this will only be a unidirectional initiative, this will be a bidirectional initiative. So there is a Telegram group. That group is IRTHISWEEK. IR this week, all in small, no gaps. There is a Telegram grouping. You can join that group and there you can suggest topics. If those topics are that much important and there is a greater demand from students, because it cannot be that demand of every student can be fulfilled, because in that case, suppose 50 students, they suggest 50 different topics, that is humanly impossible to discuss in 2 hours. So suppose there are 20 to 25 students, they say that, sir, this topic is important and we want you to discuss this topic, those topics will be taken up. So this Telegram grouping, IR this week, IR all in smalls, this is the Telegram group. You can join here and here you can suggest the topic. And apart from topics, whatever information will be there, though that will be provided on YouTube, but apart from that, information will also be provided here. So this is our initiative to help out the students so that you can have a better understanding of international relations, whatever is happening, why it is happening. Because India's stakes, India's geopolitical profile is constantly increasing. And with that increasing geopolitical profile, the questions in mains are bound to be more dynamic. And after mains, during your interview as well, there is not a single candidate for interview from whom the questions for IR has not been asked. And not just this, even from state services perspective, you need to have a better understanding of international relations. So for helping the students in this regard, we are coming up with this program, which is free for all. So ultimately the onus will be on you students, how much you engage, how many questions you ask, and you get your questions answered, so that there is a better understanding of international relations and you can score better marks, you can score better marks in mains, as well as you have a better understanding of international relations. That is our main focus, to help you out, and for helping us in helping you out, you need to help yourself in regularly attending. And while attending, do ask the questions. Your questions will get answered, and that will help you in improving your understanding. So hope this initiative will be beneficial for you. And yes, since many of the students, they will be giving mains, if they have got some specific topics that they want us to discuss, their topics will be taken on priority. Okay, their topics will be taken on priority. So please suggest your topics so that we can help you out, improve your understanding regarding international relations, so that you can score better in GS paper 2 and get your name in that PDF list. Thank you very much. That's all.